It's presidential, the outcome evidential. We strive for higher mental. This time, no accidental. We shine because we special.
Welcome, Read, Remember, Repeaters. Shout outs to y'all. Today is a beautiful day, and we are kicking this show off, giving the shout outs to at Insomnia Talks. That's at Insomnia_Talks. This guy's name is Derek Williams, and he's pushing our culture forward with positivity and definitely teaching our youth. Check this clip out right here.
As a kid, do you feel like because you have a father that's an entrepreneur that works for himself, different businesses, do you feel the pressure of following in the same footsteps? Like, do you feel like if I don't do what my dad does, then he's going to be disappointed in me? Do you feel like that?
Actually, yeah.
You do? You feel like I'll be disappointed if you don't follow my footsteps? Why?
Yeah. Because actually, I want to be like you. I don't want to be working $5 an hour, $6 an hour.
You basically
9 to
just,
5.
you want to control the type of money that you make.
Yeah, I want to work for myself, not work for people.
I mean, that's what I teach you. Just the freedom and the space of being able to be on your own time. Although you still working, is nothing, no.
Hey man, shout outs to I Am Mastery Academy. That's the academy that's teaching people how to learn and earn on the go, teaching people how to invest and be on the right side of money. Shout outs to Doc Spills and all the educators over there that's teaching people, whether it's levels, colors, harmonics, with simply teaching people how to learn and invest. And you can just match your colors. That's what we learned from day one. So get with me. That's at Read, Remember, Repeat, or at Big MUGGA. Those are my Instagrams. And let's get this money, family.
If it isn't a beautiful day to read, remember, repeat, and I don't know what it is, you know what I mean? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How y'all feeling today? Beautiful day, you know what I mean? We here at the start, we at the brink of the day. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Y'all know what it is, man. If you didn't wake up today trying to educate yourself, then I don't know what you're doing. But that's what we here for. We here to educate, we here to take in the knowledge and also give out the knowledge. But let's go, man. Where do we leave off? Y'all know what book we on, right? Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter, 50 Cent. This one for the culture. The guy was so conditioned to people asking and pressing him for things that it never occurred to him to watch for the guy who wasn't asking for anything. Here's a little test to see if you're understanding how to use the power of perception. Let's say I gave you 1 million, but then I told you that in order to keep it, you had a month to turn it into 2 million. Otherwise, I'm taking it back. What would be your strategy to double your money? Would you try to start a business and hope it grew quickly? Would you give it to an investor and hope they weren't the next Bernie Madoff? Would you buy 10 kilos of coke and try to flip it that way? I hope not, because none of these represent the easiest path to that 2 million. All you have to do is put money in your bank account and then walk over to your local branch in this situation. I even give you permission to dress casually. When you get there, ask the branch manager to open up your account. Their eyes are going to get wide when they see all those zeros on the screen. They're going to become super friendly, very eager to help you in any way they possibly can. You can stay poised and confident. After they ask you what they can do for you, calmly say, I'd like a loan for $1 million, please. It might seem like an insane thing to do or to ask for, but they're actually going to give you that million so fast you might get whiplash. Fill out a few forms, make some small talk, and in an hour or two, everything will be official. And just like that, bam, you've done it. Why would the manager be so quick to give you the money? Because they saw that you already had $1 million. They didn't care whether you got it from a rapper, a dead relative, or a drug deal. They just knew that you had it. You might have walked into that branch as just another customer, but all those zeros made you an instant VIP. If you really got that heart of a hustler, you won't stop there. Once you have your 2 million, you'll stroll over to another branch and turn it into 3. I'm making it sound simple. I've seen people successfully apply this technique in other situations. They might not start with $1 million. but they know how to give off the perception of being a millionaire. Family, did y'all get that? You get $1 million, you take it to the bank, you tell them open your account, you go to another branch, and you ask them to loan you $1 million. Sauce. Maybe they dress like one, or vacation like one, or convincingly drop the names of enough people who are rich until it sounds like they are one too. Hell, this is how half of Hollywood made their fortunes. People will get their hands on something, or relatively little value, a verbal commitment from an actor, a treatment for a movie idea, or an option on an obscure book, but they act like they're sitting on a pile of gold. Then they keep flipping and flipping whatever they're holding until they're the producer of an actual movie. The most important character trait they'll demonstrate is confidence. Every time they hit a hurdle or seem to be on a dead-end road, that confidence will be what gets them through. They also never seem to be asking for anything. They always project that air of someone who already has what they need. The actor might have said, "Sure, I'll star in your movie," when he was drunk and barely remembers the conversation. But the Hollywood hustle will act like they've got a signed contract with him. That movie treatment might only be 3 pages long, but the hustle will project the energy of someone who has a finished script. I'm being honest. I've even had someone do this with me. Several years back, I decided to go into business with a movie producer I met named Randall Emmett. He had experience producing films, so when I decided to create my film production company, Cheetah Vision, I hired him to help run it for me. I paid for everything, including an office, staff, expenses, the whole thing. I even acted in movies we produced for significantly reduced quotes, all for the greater good of building something new. Randall was an employee of Cheetah Vision, but he positioned himself differently publicly. He allowed people to believe that he was my new production partner. That was a very smart perception for him to cultivate. It allowed him access to people in places he wouldn't have had otherwise. It also led people to write checks that would have never been written if he was on his own. Ultimately, he went off on his own with one of the people who raised money for the projects. Hold on real quick, y'all. I'm going to give y'all some source real quick, and we're going to get right back to it.
Readers are readers, or that knowledge is power. These statements should not be overlooked. Even the good book says that my people are destroyed from lack of knowledge. So if you find yourself lacking in any area of your life, whether spiritual, financially, relationship-wise, in health, or your calling, pick up a great book and invest in your mind. Instead of being consumed by the plague of social media, here are what high achievers say about the power of reading a book. Will Smith. There are so many people who have lived and died before you. You will never have a new problem. You're not going to ever have a new problem. Somebody wrote the answer down in a book somewhere. Thomas Edison. When I want to discover something, I begin by reading up everything that has been done along that line in the past. That's what all the books in the library are for. Benjamin Franklin. From a child I was fond of reading, and all the little money that came into my hands was ever laid out in books. Fidel Castro. I'm almost nostalgic for those years in prison, because that's the time in my life when I had the most time to read. I read constantly, 15 hours a day. Frederick Douglass. Once you learn to read, you will be forever free. Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave.
And we are back, right? I was okay with it initially, since I understood how the Hollywood game works. But I started having a big problem with it when Randall attempted to take credit for power and my overall deal with stars. Randall might have been pretty good at getting movies made, but he had never been able to get anything going on TV. He was not involved creatively with power, and he had absolutely nothing to do with my overall deal at Stars. Actually, while Randall was involved, my original deal at Stars was terrible. I ultimately learned that was the case after my attorney contracted Stars to renegotiate and build my first overall deal. Randall had overplayed his hand for years. He actually owed me around $1 million of profit bought from the company. But I hadn't stressed him to pay it back. After a long time passed with him running his mouth, though my patience had run thinner than Wiz Khalifa, I had my attorney call him up and ask for my money. While unbeknownst to Randall, I was sitting right next to him listening. Randall started off the conversation very aggressively. "Are you kidding me? Get the fuck out of here." He told my lawyer, after all that I've done for 50, after I got him $150 million deal with Stars, you're going to sweat me for a lousy million? Fuck off. I had planned to stay quiet, but I couldn't believe my ears. "What is wrong with you, Randall?" I calmly interjected. There was no reply. "I'm curious. What's with the tough talk?" I continued. "We both know that's not who you are. I'm not dealing with you anymore after this. But before this gets any worse for you, I strongly suggest that you agree to the payment plan we're offering." Randall must have run out of tough words when he realized he was talking to me, because he got off the phone quick and he started texting me excuse after excuse of why he couldn't get me the money right away. I had planned to handle the situation privately, but I was so disappointed in his attitude that I decided to air him out in public. That's how the "I'm sorry 50" text got out there. More on that later. And of course, I ended up getting all my money. It's always a balancing act when you're trying to project an "I don't need it" energy. If you're not forceful enough in your conviction, no one is going to believe you. But you also can't start believing your own hype. Randall was stupid enough to do that. Even as you're telling the world you don't need a thing, you can never forget there are certain people who you are always going to need on your side. Don't try to run the game on them. Always have a select few you remain honest and humble with. What I'm attracted to. Ever since an early age, I've been what you might call a ladies' man. I don't say that to brag, it's just the truth. I don't look like a Ken doll, but I've never had an issue connecting with the opposite sex. It's likely because I've always been comfortable with myself, which is a very attractive trait. Men, however, don't become truly sexy until our success is publicly noted. So when I started doing well, my perceived attractiveness shot up to a new level. I was cute before, but once I was actually famous, I became one of the sexiest men alive. Hey, I'm not saying that. People magazine said so. Women are attracted to the stability that comes with money and fame. They looked at me and saw someone reliable who could provide them with everything they needed. I'm not talking about gold diggers or groupies either. I was pursued by some of the most incredible women in the world. Not just physically attractive, but women who are also incredibly successful in their own right. Lawyers, doctors, actresses, and entrepreneurs. Women with the complete package. I remember back when I was touring for Get Rich or Die Trying, I found myself in a hotel room with an extraordinarily attractive and intelligent woman. Just before things started to go down, I excused myself to use the restroom. As soon as I shut the door, I started doing a little jig and grin from ear to ear at myself in the mirror. I was so excited, I even jumped up in the air and clicked my heels. I just had to take a moment to celebrate. I literally couldn't believe the caliber of woman who was waiting for me in the other room. Today, I'm a little more laid back in those sort of situations. But I've never lost sight of the reality that as much as I enjoy women's company, my sexiness will always be tied to my success. Even if a woman presents differently at first, I still suspect it's part of her motivation. That makes it very difficult to determine who I want to pursue a deeper connection with. I'm always wondering, does she want 50 Cent or Curtis Jackson? A game. 10 minutes is up. You know what I mean? The timer is up. Shout outs to Eyes Wide Shut, Uptown, you know what I mean, for the shirt, you know what I mean? And yeah, man, let's get it going. I know what's going on, right? Read, remember, repeat. Let's do that today.
Never paid attention, but I should've. Never finished blocks, cause shorty just got shot outside of the...
And make sure you guys are juicing, man. Make sure you're getting that 100% cold pressed juice at Rise Juice.
Or maybe this one, it ain't meant for you. I think about now when I finish too.